As in the last lecture, we have discussed about the polar stratospheric clouds. So these reactions basically takes place at the surface of polar stratospheric clouds. Now see, basically what happens in the spring season. See, basically in the spring season, when sunlight returns to the Antarctica region. So basically in the spring season, when sunlight returns to the Antarctica, the sun warm breaks up the cloud. So it breaks up the cloud and HOCl and Cl2 are photolyzed by the sunlight. So basically what happens in the spring season? In spring season, basically when sunlight returns to the Antarctica, the sun warmth breaks up the clouds and HOCl and Cl2 are photolyzed by the sunlight according to the reactions. See, basically HOCl is break up by the sunlight in Cl free radical and HO free radical. So basically in the presence of sunlight, HOCl breaks in the form of free radical, Cl free radical and HO free radical. So there is basically homolytic fission. In the same way, Cl2 also breaks by the homolytic fission, and in presence of sunlight, Cl2 also breaks in the form of chlorine free radical. So basically these free radical formed by the action of sunlight, are responsible for chain reaction in the ozone depletion. So basically these chemical free radicals formed in the reaction will initiate the chain reaction responsible for the ozone depletion. Now we will discuss about the harmful effects of depletion of ozone layer. See the harmful effects of depletion of ozone layer. See, the first harmful effect of depletion of ozone layer is, as we know, ultraviolet radiation leads to the aging of skin. So basically UV radiation, ultraviolet radiation leads to aging of skin, also cause cataract or sunburn. It may also cause skin cancer, and also ultraviolet radiation kill many phytoplanktons. So basically it is a large damage to the fish productivity. So it damages the fish productivity also. So the first harmful effect of ozone depletion is basically, as we know, due to ozone depletion UV radiation will come, and this UV radiation leads to the aging of skin, or may cause cataract, or may cause sunburn, or may cause skin cancer, also responsible for the killing of many phytoplanktons, and also it causes damage to the fish productivity. Now we will discuss the another harmful effect of ozone depletion. See, basically the UV radiation affects the plant protein. So basically plant protein is affected by the UV radiation, and due to plant protein, which eventually leads to the harmful mutation of cells. So basically due to UV radiation, the plant protein gets affected, and due to which eventually leads to the harmful mutation of cells. Now see the next harmful effect of ozone layer depletion. See, basically due to depletion of ozone layer, UV radiations will come, and these UV radiation, ultraviolet radiation, will increase the evaporation of surface water. So basically, these UV radiation will increase the evaporation of surface water, through which stomata of leaves, and thus decreases the moisture content of the soil. So it also decreases the moisture content of the soil. So basically, UV radiations increase the evaporation of surface water through the stomata of leaves, and thus decreases the moisture content of the soil. Now see the next harmful effect of ozone depletion. See, basically, also increase in the UV radiation may damage paints and fibers and cause them to fade faster. So basically, we have discussed about the harmful effects of ozone depletion. The first harmful effect of ozone layer depletion is UV radiations will come, and UV radiations will lead to aging of skin, or may cause cataract, or may cause sunburn, skin cancer, or may cause killing of many phytoplanktons. Also, due to which there is damage to fish productivity. And we know UV radiation also affects the plant protein, which eventually leads to the harmful mutation of cells. And we also know UV radiations also increase the evaporation of surface water through the stomata of leaves. Therefore, it decreases the moisture content of the soil. And also we know the increase in UV radiation damage paints and fibers and cause them to fade faster. Now we are going to discuss our next type of pollution, which is water pollution. So we have discussed all about the air pollution. Now we are going to study about the water pollution. See, the next topic is water pollution. Basically, as we know, the pollution of water, the main source for water of pollution is basically pollution of water originates from the human activities. So human activities are responsible for the pollution of water. Now we will discuss on the basis of source. So basically, water solution we will discuss on the basis of source. So water pollution we are going to discuss about on the basis of source. So first we are going to discuss water pollution on the basis of point source pollution. See, basically in point source pollution we can easily identify the source of place of pollution. In point source of pollution we can easily identify the source of place of pollution, which is called as point source. For example, municipal and industrial discharge pipes where pollutant enter the water source. So basically, the pollution of water originates from the human activities, and on the basis of source we classified the water solution in point source pollution. Actually, in the point source pollution we can easily identify the source of place of pollution. So easily identified source of place of pollution is called as point source. Example are municipal and industrial discharge pipes where pollutant enter the water source. Now we will discuss on the basis of non-point source pollution. See, the non-point source pollution. Basically, those non-point source pollutions are those where a source of pollution cannot be identified. If the source of pollution cannot be identified, then we call non-point source pollution, and if the source of pollution is easily identified, then we call point source pollution. and if the source of pollution cannot be identified, we call non-point source pollution. See the example of non-point source pollution. Basically, non-point source pollution are agriculture runoff. So agriculture runoff considered under the classification of non-point source pollution from farm, animals and croplands. Also acid rain storm water and also drainage from the streets, parking lots and lawns. So these are basically non-point source pollution. In these source we cannot identify the source of pollution. So the source of pollution cannot be identified here. Therefore we call it non-point source pollution. Now we will discuss about the cause of water pollution. So the next topic is the cause of water pollution. See, what are the cause of water pollution? Basically, the cause of water pollution is basically, first we are going to discuss about pathogens. Basically pathogens are injection or we call disease causing agents. So basically the cause of water solution is pathogen, and also pathogens are basically infection or disease causing agents. Basically water pollutants which are the disease causing agent. Basically the water pollutant which are the disease causing agent are called pathogens. So the water pollutants which are the disease causing agents we call pathogens. So basically pathogens basically include bacteria. Pathogens include bacteria and other organism. So pathogens include bacteria and other organism that enter water from the domestic sewage, that enter into the water from domestic sewage and animal excrete. So we are going to discuss about the cause of water solution, and the first cause of water solution is basically pathogens. Pathogens we also call injection or disease causing agents. Basically water pollutants which are the disease causing agent we also call pathogens. So basically these pathogens include bacteria and other organism that enter into water from the domestic sewage and through animal excrete. The next cause of water solution is organic waste. The next cause of water pollution is organic waste. See, basically the organic waste is organic matter. The organic waste is basically organic matter such as leaves, grass, trash, etc. are the major water pollutants. Basically they pollute the water as a consequence of decay, that is runoff. Basically due to this excessive phytoplankton growth within the water. So basically due to this organic matter there is excessive phytoplankton growth within the water is also cause of water pollution. So these excessive growth of phytoplankton within the water is also a cause of water pollution. So we have discussed about the water pollution. Basically water pollution originates from the human activities. On the basis of source we have discussed water pollution, point source pollution, in which the source is identified, source of place of pollution is identified, we call point source, and in which we cannot identify the source of pollution, called non-point source pollution. Then we have discussed about the cause of water pollution. Basically pathogens cause water pollution. Pathogens are basically infection or disease causing agents. Water pollutants which are disease causing agents we also call pathogens. So pathogens basically include bacteria and other organisms that enter from the domestic sewage or animal excrete. Then we have discussed another cause of water solution, which is organic waste. Basically due to organic waste there is excessive growth of phytoplankton into the water, which is also a cause of water pollution. Next we are going to discuss our next topic, which is dissolved oxygen. Basically the bacteria present in large population causes the decomposition of organic matter present in the water. So basically the organic matter present in water is decomposed by the bacteria present in large population. See, basically these bacteria consume oxygen dissolved in water. These bacteria consume oxygen dissolved in water, and these bacteria are responsible for the decomposition of organic matter present in the water. So for the decomposition of organic matter, for the decomposition of this organic matter present in water, bacteria consume oxygen dissolved in water. Basically in winter, that is in cold water. In winter, that is in cold water, this dissolved oxygen can reach concentration up to 10 parts per million. Basically the concentration of dissolved oxygen in the cold season reaches up to concentration of 10 ppm. That is why even a moderate amount of organic matter, when decomposed in water, can deplete the water of its dissolved oxygen. So basically what is dissolved oxygen? Dissolved oxygen is basically which is consumed by bacteria. So dissolved oxygen in the water is consumed by bacteria. So there is decomposition of organic matter present in the water by the bacteria present in large population. So for the decomposition of organic matter present in the water, these bacteria consume oxygen dissolved in water. And basically in winter, cold season, this dissolved oxygen can reach up to concentration of 10 ppm. So therefore that is why even a moderate amount of organic matter when decomposed in water, can deplete the water of its dissolved oxygen. See, if the concentration of dissolved oxygen in water is below 6 ppm, then the growth of fish gets inhibited. This is very important question, as this question already asked in the competitive exam. What is the concentration of dissolved oxygen in water at which growth of fish gets inhibited? So basically if the concentration of dissolved oxygen in water is below 6 ppm, 6 parts per million. So when the concentration of dissolved oxygen in water is below 6 ppm, 6 parts per million, then the growth of fish gets inhibited. So why this dissolved oxygen is required? Because we know the decomposition of organic matter present in water is by bacteria, and these bacteria consume oxygen dissolved in water for the decomposition of organic matter. And if the concentration of dissolved oxygen in water is below 6 ppm, If the concentration of dissolved oxygen in water is below 6 ppm, then the growth of fish gets inhibited. Now we are going to discuss how this oxygen reaches to water. Now how this oxygen reaches to water, which is required by bacteria for the decomposition of organic matter in the water. See, basically the oxygen reaches into water through atmosphere. Through atmosphere, oxygen reaches into water. Also from the process of photosynthesis. So oxygen reaches into water either through atmosphere or from the process of photosynthesis. Basically the process of photosynthesis carried out by the many aquatic green plants during the daylight. So basically oxygen reaches into water either through atmosphere or from the process of photosynthesis. Basically many aquatic green plants during daylight carried out the photosynthesis process. See, basically during night the photosynthesis process stops, as photosynthesis process carried out in the daylight. However, during night this photosynthesis process stops, but plants continue to respire. But during night photosynthesis process stops, but plants continue to respire. Due to respiration of plants during night, it results in the reduction of dissolved oxygen. Basically this dissolved oxygen is also used by the microorganisms. To reduce organic matter. So how oxygen reaches to water? Either through atmosphere or from the process of photosynthesis, which is carried out by many aquatic green plants during daylight. Basically photosynthesis process occurs during daylight. So during night photosynthesis stops, but the plants continue to respire, due to which results in the reduction of dissolved oxygen. And we know this dissolved oxygen is used by the microorganism to oxidize organic matter. See, if too much of organic matter is added, if too much of organic matter is added to water, then all the available oxygen will be consumed. If too much of the organic matter is added to water, then all the available oxygen will be consumed. So this leads to oxygen dependent aquatic life to die. So it results in the oxygen dependent aquatic life to die. So basically if too much organic matter is added to water, then all the available oxygen is consumed, and if all the available oxygen is consumed, then this will lead to oxygen dependent aquatic life to die. Now we will discuss about the concentration of dissolved oxygen. And we know that if the concentration of dissolved oxygen in water is less than 6 ppm, then the growth of fish gets inhibited. And we know in winter in cold water dissolved oxygen can reach concentration up to 10 ppm. See, the next topic we are going to discuss is the concentration of dissolved oxygen. See, the concentration of dissolved oxygen. Basically we know in water is very important for the aquatic life. We know the water is very important for the aquatic life. So water is very important for the aquatic life. As we know, this is aquatic life. So water is very important for the aquatic life. Thus, anaerobic bacteria. What are anaerobic bacteria? Basically, anaerobic bacteria are those bacteria which do not require oxygen, which do not require O2. So, those bacteria which do not require O2, we call anaerobic bacteria. Basically, anaerobic bacteria begin to break down the organic matter, or anaerobic bacteria begin to break down the organic matter, and by the breakdown of organic matter they produce chemicals. They produce chemicals that are having foul smell, unpleasant smell, and harmful to the human health. So, as we know, in the concentration of dissolved oxygen, basically the water is very important. Water is very important for the aquatic life. Thus, anaerobic bacteria. What are anaerobic bacteria? Which do not require oxygen, we call anaerobic bacteria. Therefore, the anaerobic bacteria begin to break down the organic matter. So anaerobic bacteria begin to break down the organic matter, and after breakdown of organic matter, this anaerobic bacteria produces chemicals, and these chemicals have unpleasant smell and also harmful. These chemicals are harmful to the human health. Basically, anaerobic bacteria do not require oxygen, while aerobic oxygen requiring bacteria degrade these organic waste and keep the water depleted in the dissolved oxygen. So basically, we know anaerobic bacteria do not require oxygen to break down the organic matter, and we know in water is very important for the aquatic life, and anaerobic bacteria do not require oxygen. It begins the breakdown of the organic matter and produces chemicals that have unpleasant smell and are harmful to the human health. And aerobic oxygen requiring bacteria, while the aerobic oxygen requiring bacteria degrade these organic waste and keep the water depleted in dissolved oxygen. So we have discussed about the dissolved oxygen, and also we have discussed about the dissolved oxygen, how dissolved oxygen is required by the bacteria for the decomposition of organic matter present in the water. Basically, we know these bacteria consume oxygen dissolved in water, and we know in the winter in cold water dissolved oxygen can reach up to concentration of 10 ppm. And we know if the concentration of dissolved oxygen in water is below 6 ppm, then the growth of fish will be inhibited. Then we have discussed about the water pollution. So basically in water pollution we know there are two types of source, which one is point source pollution and one is non-point source pollution. And then we have discussed about the cause of water pollution. Basically the cause of water pollution is basically pathogens we call injection or disease causing agent. Basically water pollutants which are the disease causing agents are called pathogens. So pathogens basically include bacteria and other organisms that enter into the water through domestic sewage and animal excrete. Also the cause of water is organic waste. As we know, organic matter waste such as leaves, grass are the major water pollutants. Basically these pollute the water as a consequence of decay, runoff, and due to this organic waste there is excessive growth of phytoplankton. So due to this organic waste there is excessive growth of phytoplankton in water, is also a cause of water pollution. Then we have discussed about the dissolved oxygen. basically. And we know if concentration of dissolved oxygen in water is less than 6 ppm, then growth of fish gets inhibited. And then we have discussed how oxygen reaches to water. Then we have discussed about the concentration of dissolved oxygen. Basically, aerobic bacteria requires oxygen, and anaerobic bacteria do not require oxygen for the breakdown of organic matter. In next class we will discuss our next topic, which is biochemical oxygen demand.